It was a fairly dramatic difference between this car and the base model on track. Now, the first place to start, obviously, is the tires, which is probably the biggest difference between the base car and the Z51. This has a set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S ZPs. Now, that ZP, very, very important there, because from our contacts in the tire industry and our friends that do a lot of extensive tire testing, these ZP tires that come as OEM on a few specific high performance models from various manufacturers, they punch above their actual weight class, considering it's a 300 treadwear tire that once it gets a little bit of heat in it, actually sticks really, really, really well. And that is providing a lot of grip and a lot of great response and great feedback from this car, despite the fact that it's only a relatively narrow 245 section width tire in the front. But there's more exciting stuff underneath. So let's get this wheel off and see what we can see under there. So suspension-wise, the same architecture is present here, but a lot of the details are different. And the first thing is the brakes. The brakes are much bigger and a true 4-piston caliper. So you might see the light flashing in that tunnel there. That is an actual brake duct coming all the way through from the front of the car, right in the center of the car, into the wheel well here. It gives us some nice cooling air for those brakes. Another improvement made to a car with a lot of horsepower to help it slow down. I mean, remember, your brakes are your most powerful speed changing device on any car, how much horsepower that car has. So maximizing your brakes is a great way to reduce lap times and a great way to make a car a lot more satisfying and a lot safer and a lot more fun to drive on track. And these brakes on the Z51 have certainly made some improvements over the base model. The Z51 also comes with an expanded cooling package, which is more and larger heat exchangers, both in the front and in the back of this car. So a lot of the improvement on the Z51 is also aerodynamic. We can see an actual functional splitter up here that is pretty beefy. Also, from an aerodynamic perspective, as we saw with the base model, it was pretty slick underneath. Z51 has even a little bit more attention paid. We've got these little air control devices here that look like they're channeling air so it's not hitting this turbulent area right in front of the wheel that hard. Some fairing around the front suspension, which the base model didn't have, which is pretty slick actually. Controls the air around that front suspension. A lot of bits and pieces in your front suspension between the control arms, tie rods, end links for the sway bars. A lot of dirty air can get created in there, and this is just smoothing that air out, creating or not letting it create as much turbulence. Moving backwards, again, see a lot of the same stuff that we saw on the base car. Any Corvette owner is going to recognize all of these bolts on the tunnel plate. I guess I'm glad that Chevy kept those around, because why should us C5 and C6 people have to do all the suffering? Speaking of C5 and C6 people, your jack pucks from your C5 and C6 will also work just fine on the C8. Meaning, if you're thinking of upgrading to a C8, you don't have to spend that extra money for new jack pucks. So it pays for itself. Cool touch here in the rear. As we saw the additional brake ducting in the front, we see some brake ducting in the rear, which is helping guide air into the interior of those rotor vanes. You can see right into the rotor vanes, getting some nice air flowing through the rotors in the rear. In the rear, we also see another pair of 4-piston calipers. So brake upgrade at both ends of the car. Now, just like the base model, we've got some pretty good suspension adjustment available. Of course, the big thing for anybody who's going to be driving on track is to be able to get more negative camber. We've got, if anybody's ever seen under a C5 or a C6 or a C7 Corvette, this is essentially the exact same adjustment method. It's some eccentric cams that mount the inside of the lower control arms, both in the rear and in the front. And you can get, on a C5, you can get 2.5 degrees of negative camber with the stock cams. probably pretty close on these. So the exhaust on the C8 is a little bit special. With the high performance exhaust option, you actually have the access to 5 additional horsepower with exhaust bypass. Makes it louder and makes it faster, and it sounds pretty cool. It just continues to impress me every time I'm under one of these, is how little steel is in a modern high performance car, and this C8 in particular. Do you like the stuff we're doing here at Grassroots Motorsports? Do me a favor then, go down, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit us up online at grassrootsmotorsports.com. We'll see you next time at the track.
Support brands that support Grassroots Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more.